Thanks for listening to the Children's Hour podcast. You can also subscribe and get early releases of our show at patreon.com/thechildren'shour. You know, the Children's Hour is not free to produce, and you could really help us out a lot by making a contribution today. We're a nonprofit organization, so all donations are tax deductible. Go to childrenshour.org and click Donate. Thank you so much.
Why did the cookie go to the hospital?
I don't know. Why?
Because he was feeling a little crummy.
It's time for the Children's Hour, Kids Public Radio.
You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Don't give up hope. Don't give up hope. You're not alone. You're not alone. Don't you give up. Don't you give up. Keep moving on. Oh, you got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Lift up your eyes. Lift up your eyes. Don't you despair. Don't you despair. Look up ahead. Look up ahead. The path is there. Oh, you got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Hey! I know you're scared. I know you're scared, and I'm scared too. And I'm scared too. But here I am. But here I am. Right next to you. Ooh, you got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You got to put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love.
One Foot, Lead with Love features Chris Matthews. It's from a brand new release by Alastair Moock that came out this spring called Be a Pain, an album for young and old leaders. You're listening to the Children's Hour. I'm Katie Stone. I am so happy to be with a bunch of great people. Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, let's see who's here today.
Hello, this is Isaac.
Hi, it's Illuminata.
Happy day, it's Maya.
Hi, it's Camila.
Hello, it's Melissa.
Hi, it's Rosie.
Hello, it's Zen.
Hello, it's Amadeus.
Hi, it's Lucas.
Well, hi, everyone. Here we are. It's the winding down of summer. And today on the show, we're going to be talking about one of the most pleasant topics in the world, the coronavirus.
Yay.
I can't wait.
Wow! Oh my
can't wait.
You all haven't heard enough about the coronavirus everywhere else, but honestly, truth told, we actually haven't heard very much about coronavirus and kids. And so today we're going to be talking with New Mexico's Department of Health Secretary, Kathyleen Kunkel. But in the meantime, is there any news that anyone wants to share?
And like a little bit after my birthday, I'm going to go back to school. But I'm going to be in elementary, which is different than primary. So I'm a little nervous. But I'm going to be in first grade.
Wow. What do you think is going to be different about elementary compared to primary?
More challenging work.
I think you're ready for it because you learned how to read this summer, didn't you?
Yeah, but there's going to be a little bit of different people in my class, but there'll be like 2 different people that I'm going to be used to having in my class. One, a good friend I'm going to be with now, but I have to stay 6 feet apart.
6 feet apart. Yeah. How is that going to work? Yeah, Maya.
This is kind of random, but I'm confused about school supplies. Like, do we need them? Do we not need them?
Right. Like, will we be turning things in person? Will we be turning things in online? Yeah, Melissa, I think you've already started school because you go to a year-round school, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been going pretty smoothly so far. We've been alternating days and keeping Wednesday off. But yeah, it's been going smoothly so far.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, Camila.
Starting school online.
And the Zoom cut you off a little bit. You're starting school online. Interesting. I think a lot of schools are starting online. And that's because of the COVID virus, which we're going to discuss today with the New Mexico Department of Health Secretary, Kathyleen Kunkel. She's joining us on the show to tell us what are the safest things we can do right now and how is one state handling this outbreak? Because maybe you all don't know this, but there's not really a federal plan for handling the COVID virus. So every state is left on their own to manage this virus and to keep it as contained as possible. So lots of decisions are being made about things like should school be in person or should it be online? And it just depends where you live as to what your state is doing to combat the virus. Although we do know that we could all be doing our part by wearing masks and washing our hands regularly and not going to gatherings, keeping up that social distancing, even though it is really hard to do. But these are the things we're going to discuss today on the Children's Hour. We're also going to hear from the kids in the Extinction Diaries who are going to talk to us about plants. And we have a book review today done by Isaac on our crew of a series of 3 books called Face Mask Fun with Hamilton by Renuka Christoph. And these books help kids learn the protocol for staying safe in the time of COVID. And there's a lot of great music to play, including this one by Suzanne Jamieson from her brand new CD, Bounce.
This is Suzanne Jamieson, and you're listening to The Children's Hour with Katie and the Kids.
The first day I get to wear new clothes, a puppy dog kiss with the tip of my nose, taking a dip in my neighbor's pool, or dressing up for Halloween at school. That's how happy feels.
Suzanne Jamieson from her CD Bounce. You're listening to the Children's Hour, and we are delighted to have on the show with us today New Mexico's Secretary of the Department of Health, Kathyleen Kunkel. Welcome to the Children's Hour.
Thank you so much, Katie. It is my great honor to be here.
We're the ones who are honored that you're with us today. Thank you so much, Secretary Kunkel. Back in March, the Children's Hour did a show on kids and COVID, and our kids crew and I got to talk to a doctor about what was happening with the virus, which was very new at the time. And there was an assumption that we'd see the worst of it in maybe April of 2020. And here we are. We're recording this at the end of July, beginning of August, and we are seeing spikes in coronavirus all over the nation. And so I think we just need an update as to what's really happening with COVID-19 right now.
Well, that's a big question. And it started in the United States. I think we started to see our first cases in February, and it moved around the country. It came to my state, which is New Mexico, a little later than some. But there was hope at that time. We didn't know very much about the virus. There was hope that it would go away when the warm weather came. And there was hope that once it came through your state and most people got it, that it would sort of go away. But that isn't what happened. And depending on what state you were in, the virus came there first. It started on the coasts, sort of in Washington, California, and on the other coast in New York. And then it kind of moved in as people traveled around the country. So those states that had it first went back to work, tried to go back and do normal things. And when they did that, the virus came back. So that's what we're learning now in midsummer, that the virus didn't go away, that it's still with us, that we did pretty well, all of us in the United States, when we stayed home and we weren't going anywhere. It looked like it was going down. But as people started to leave their homes and go back out, the virus started to spread again. Now, it's very general, but that's kind of what's happening.
Can children get the coronavirus? And if they do, what would that look like?
Well, it's a virus just like any other virus. So yes, children can get the virus. What's interesting that we're learning, this is a brand new virus in the world. So we never had it before. So it hasn't even been a year since this virus has been around in the whole world. But yes, children can get it. It seems like children don't get as sick as older people do when they get the virus. So it looks like a headache maybe, a cough, trouble breathing sometimes, like catching your breath, but it can be stomach problems, stomach aches. It can look a lot like, I don't know if that sounds like something familiar to you, but it can look like the viruses you've had before. So the good news is children don't seem overall to get as sick as older people when they do get the virus.
And the bummer about viruses versus a bacterial infection is that you can't just take antibiotics and be better.
No, the bad news is we don't have any treatment for this virus. We have only prevention. We can only wash our hands, cover our faces, stay out of crowds. The only weapon we have is to distance ourselves from other people, which is kind of sad, and to not sneeze or cough or exchange any respiratory droplets. So no treatment at this time. Scientists are working very hard at that, but not at this time.
What can we do to stop it?
Believe it or not, we can do a lot to stop it. If different states have different rules about this, but wearing masks, turns out, is a really good way to stop it, a really good way to slow it down. So if you wear a mask, you can't get anything to me. And if I wear a mask, I can't share anything with you. So if we're both wearing masks, it's a really good way to discourage that virus. When you wash your hands, you do a lot to keep away the virus because we don't even think about it and we touch our faces. And so that's another good way to do it. And the other only weapon we have is staying 6 feet apart. Now, don't go around with a yardstick or a tape measure and make sure you're 6 feet apart. Although I've seen some funny things, people putting tubes around them to stay 6 feet apart. But it really does help if we do those 3 things.
Is social distancing effective?
It is effective. Again, nothing's perfect. This is a bug that's really easy to catch. It's really easy to spread. So the best we can do is stay as far away from it as we can. So yeah, that's what social distancing is. And the scientists at the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, they say 6 feet. That's pretty close. So when you go places, you don't want to be standing right on top of each other. That's why when you see people at stores, there's X's marking spaces. They want you to stay 6 feet apart from each other. So we do our best not to breathe on each other. And it is effective. That plus washing your hands and the mask.
Does it matter what the mask is made of? I know that we're experiencing a national shortage in those N95 masks, that we need to reserve them for our first responders and our hospital workers. So are cloth masks effective? And if so, do they have to be a certain thickness or a certain number of layers of cloth to work?
There is a lot of talk about masks, and there's a lot of people disagree about masks around our country. But there's a lot of growing evidence that masks do help, as the way I've described. And N95 means 95% of the virus is kept out. And we do like to use those for health professionals, doctors and nurses and first responders in the ambulances, because they're out there and they're exposed to potentially so much of the virus that we want them to get the best protection. And it is in short supply. We have a wonderful country with a lot of assets, but we are in short supply of those items. So they are pretty much saved for healthcare professionals. But people like you and me can do just fine with homemade masks, cotton masks. Generally, the scientific advice or the experts' advice is to have 2 layers of cotton. So that's the best for homemade masks. But they're quite effective if we each wear them in our daily walking around, going to the store, out and about. A 2-layer homemade mask is pretty effective. But for healthcare people who are maybe in a closed room with a sick person for many hours, they need something stronger like an N95.
We're talking with Secretary of Health for the state of New Mexico, Kathyleen Kunkel. And we're talking about the coronavirus. And when we come back after the break, we're going to pick up where we left off. There's a lot more questions from kids on the crew. That includes questions about school.
You're listening to the Children's Hour, Kids Public Radio. We'll be right back.
The Children's Hour is produced by the Children's Hour Incorporated, a nonprofit dedicated to producing high-quality kids public radio. Find out more at childrenshour.org. Support provided by Electric Playhouse, an all-ages dining and interactive entertainment wonderland based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Experience gaming in a whole new way, transporting you to another reality. See for yourself at electricplayhouse.com. Support is also provided by the City of Albuquerque Cultural Services Department and the Urban Enhancement Trust Fund.
Lávate las manos, es muy importante para la salud. Lávate las manos por 20 segundos con agua y jabón. Con agua y jabón, con agua y jabón. Por 20 segundos con agua y jabón. La 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 lávate las manos. La 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 con agua y jabón. Lávate las manos antes de comer.
Agua y jabón is water and soap. That's EVT Kids from a single release that just came out. You're listening to the Children's Hour, and with us today is Kathyleen Kunkel. She's the Secretary of the Department of Health for the state of New Mexico. Secretary Kunkel is on the show with us today to talk about the COVID-19 virus. And before the break, we were just starting to talk about wearing masks. Maya Falcon has our next question.
If I'm like going for a walk around the block or something like that, do I need to wear a mask?
You know what, Maya? It kind of depends where you live. If you live in New Mexico, the answer is yes. We have an order that says even if you're out walking the dog, which is what will be doing, or even if you're exercising, you have to wear masks. But I think it's very different around the country, and you should check with your local health department. Because we don't know a lot about this virus, states are doing the best they can to figure that out.
What is a super spreader?
Oh, a super spreader can be a person or a thing. And it's a term that has come up with this virus to describe somebody who has the ability to spread the virus to lots of people. And there isn't really, you can't tell a person is a super spreader. There's some questions about one person goes to a gathering and everybody gets sick. He's sick and everybody gets sick. We would call that person a super spreader. But another person goes to the gathering and they're sick and only maybe one or two people get it. Well, you wouldn't call that person a super spreader. But it's a term that's been made up to describe situations or people who, for some reason, have the ability to spread the virus to many people. And it's also used to describe sometimes big gatherings of people. When hundreds or thousands of people are together in the same place, sometimes that is described as a super spreader event, because unfortunately, it's in our breath, right? As we're breathing, it comes out. As we're breathing, you can't see it. You don't realize you're spreading it. Lots of people can get sick, which is why we encourage social distancing.
You said before that this is a super easy virus to get. So if you get the virus, what are the first things that you should do?
Thank you, Zen. And I'm going to answer that in two ways. If you get sick, it sounds like sicknesses you've had before. What, a sore throat, a cough, short of breath, aches and pains, a headache. Most of us have had a virus like that before. So those are the signs. Any one of those can be signs. Stomach trouble. Anything that makes you feel unwell can actually be a sign. And you need to tell somebody right away, because you should get tested, because the only way we can protect you and your friends and family or people around you is to isolate you or to quarantine you. Both those terms get used. So when you feel sick, the only way to know if it's COVID as opposed to some other virus is to get a test. And then if the test is positive, then we would have you stay away from everybody for 14 days, because that's how long it takes to get rid of the infectious part of the virus. So you would be isolated in your home. Your family shouldn't come in. You should use your own utensils, your own equipment, your own. And every family's different. And I live in a state that has very, very different cultures. And different cultures have different ways of coping with isolation, but that's what we do. Shortly, we get you tested, and then we isolate you if you're positive for 14 days. And anybody around you who's been around you for more than a few minutes has to be tested as well and isolate or quarantined as well. Sometimes, though, people don't know they have the virus. And that's the really sneaky thing about COVID, is that you can have the virus and have no symptoms at all. So that's really hard to manage. There's no shortness of breath, no cough, no reason for you to get tested, and yet you are carrying the virus and spreading it. Not you particularly, Zen, but a person. So we test people who don't even have symptoms just to see if we can find the virus in the community and isolate it. And most states are doing that kind of work as well.
When you talk about you have to tell everybody you've been around more than a minute about this, is that what you mean by contact tracing?
Yes, that is exactly what we mean by contact tracing. Departments of health do that everywhere. It's the kind of work we've done for many, many years, even before COVID. But when we find out that someone tested positive for the virus, we do ask them who they've been close to for 2 days before. So in a family, it's everybody in the household. But for people who are working, we want to know if they were with people in their office or if they've spent time in different locations. The CDC describes a close contact as closer than 6 feet for more than 15 minutes. But different states, again, define that differently. But we would want to talk to all those close contacts and recommend that they get tested.
Is there a specific sanitizer I should use for my hands?
You know, Melissa, it's alcohol based, but I don't have a specific brand in mind. Alcohol based hand sanitizer works, but actually the scientists in the Department of Health in New Mexico recommend soap and water. But you don't always have soap and water, so an alcohol based hand sanitizer will work just as well.
Is it true that some hand sanitizers are like dangerous or not safe to use?
There are people who unfortunately ingested it. I know none of you would do a thing like that. It's only meant to be used on your hands. I am not aware of a hand sanitizer that you use appropriately on your hands that is dangerous. But I will say, Miss Maya, that you have hit on a question that came from the CDC an hour ago. So if I learn something when I get off the program, I will let Katie know and I'll follow up with you because it's interesting that you just asked that question. At the same time, they want to know what we're using in New Mexico because there is some talk about a particular brand that may be dangerous, but I suspect people are not using it appropriately.
What can we expect for school?
That's another big question. When we had the first shut down schools in the late part of your last school year, we were all hopeful that that's the last time we'd have to close school. But again, states are handling this differently, but it doesn't look like we're as ready to go back to school as we had hoped all across the nation. And again, different states are making different decisions about how to manage this. Some states who have less prevalence of the virus are opening up their schools for regular schooling, probably in August and September. Some states who still have a lot of virus, like New Mexico, unfortunately, we have decided not to open our schools for the month of August, but we're going to check back in September. We're hoping that we'll have less virus around the state at that time. Some schools, and many, I think, are trying to do what's called hybrid because we want to do distancing. Some children will come in on the first 2 days, and then on Wednesday, they'll disinfect the classroom, and another set of children will come in on Thursday and Friday, and that hybrid model is being adopted by many school districts. I don't know if it's in yours, and that's hopefully a way to have the social experience of school as well as the academic experience of school. But everybody is proceeding carefully and making sure that children are safe and teachers are safe. So it looks different everywhere you go. I know that everybody wants to get schools back in very badly. So that's everyone's priority.
If you have COVID, can you give COVID to your pets or just animals in general?
No, but there was some suggestion early on that animals could carry the virus. I'm not a veterinarian and I haven't spent a lot of time on this, but I did look it up early on and there wasn't any evidence that we could give it to animals or that they could give it to us. Again, this is a very tricky virus. It changes all the time, but right now we're not worried about that.
Even though times are really uncertain in this moment, when would we be seeing things like state buildings, museums, and other places start opening up?
The way the governor and her team make decisions is how much exposure is there going to be to the public if they go to this location? How long are they going to be there? If it's a place you're only going to be in for a short time, the grocery store, you're walking, first of all, we got to eat. And you're walking through it. You're not standing or sitting for a long time. We are saying a little bit less risk of transmission. if you're outside, now that we've had the virus hanging around for 6 or 7 months, we know you're less likely to get it outside if there's enough space between you and the people around you. We are gradually in New Mexico opening up based on those factors. If you're wearing a mask and you're outside and you can socially distance yourself from other people, we'd like to see those beautiful places open up and our economy come back. But if inside where you're going to not wear a mask potentially, and you're going to be with a lot of other people, that's a very high risk situation. And I can't predict when those are going to be opened up again.
And just to complicate this even further, Amadeus, every state is having to make their own decisions about this sort of thing. So if you're here in New Mexico, things are shut down. If you're in another part of the country, things might not be shut down. However, it doesn't change the risk. The risk is still higher if you're in an enclosed place for a prolonged period of time with other people. Yeah, Ruthie.
Like you were saying, in New Mexico, they say you should wear a mask. I live in Denver. I was just spending some time in Albuquerque with my grandma and grandpa. What about in Denver?
You know, I don't know exactly what the rules are in Denver, Ruthie, but thank you. It's very, very smart observation that when you visit some states, you have to go by their rules and wear a mask. Again, not every state has those rules, so you would have to ask the public health people in your state, and I actually don't know what it is in Denver.
And Ruthie, even though she's very young and not likely to get terribly sick herself, wore a mask in New Mexico, but part of that wasn't because it was the rule. It was because she cares about other people. And wearing a mask is one way you can really show other people that you care about them.
Right. That's so important.
Why are our grandparents or older people at risk with the coronavirus?
Well, thank you for asking that, because I am a grandma. I have been home since the first week of March because I'm at high risk. And the reason is that elderly people, many of them have what we call underlying health conditions. So as they got older, they got different health problems like diabetes or maybe some lung problems. And what we discovered very quickly with COVID is that older people suffered and got sicker quicker with this than younger people did. So that's why elderly people are so much at risk. They tend to have underlying health conditions that make them very, very susceptible. And they also have less immunities to it. So unfortunately, that seems to be the age group that this virus is most dangerous for.
Secretary Kathyleen Kunkel is the Department of Health Secretary in the state of New Mexico. She is on the team that is making the plans in our state for containing the COVID-19 virus. Secretary Kunkel, I know you're very, very busy. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us on the Children's Hour.
Thank you again. You were delightful, and stay well, everyone.
You too, Madam Secretary. Coming up on the Children's Hour, Isaac is reviewing a trio of books that are to help very young children adapt to social distancing, mask wearing, and other ways to keep safe in the time of COVID. And we're going to be hearing from the Extinction Diaries. But first, this is from a brand new CD by Pierce Freelon called Dad, D-A-D. This is Bubble.
I woke up and I'm feeling anxious when I'm with you. I don't feel the safest. I need space. I think this relationship needs boundaries, 'cause I love me and I made a promise. I'm not mean, I'm just being honest. I need space away from you basically. Get out of my bubble, bubble. Don't pop my bubble, bubble. Don't talk in my bubble, bubble. There's gonna be trouble. Stay away from my bubble, bubble. My sensitive bubble. My chrysalis bubble. I can't be subtle. Don't touch my bubble, it may seem frightening. Sometimes I feel stressed out, that's okay. Feels anxiety. It's a normal part of living life. I love myself and made a commitment to have healthy vibes and intentions. Think of this as some social distancing. My boundaries are like a fortress. They keep me safe from harm. It keeps me grounded and makes me strong. I'm working hard to take care of me. Get out of my bubble, bubble. Don't pop my bubble, bubble. Don't talk my bubble, bubble. There's gonna be trouble. Stay away from my bubble, bubble. My sensitive bubble. My Christmas bubble. I can't be subtle. Don't touch my bubble, it may seem frightening. Sometimes I feel stressed out, but that's okay. Feels anxiety. It's a normal part of living life. Boundaries are a way to keep you safe. Trust your intuition, breathe, and say what you gotta say. Boundaries protect you. Tuck your heart away from harm, and you will find just a little peace of mind. You are divine. You are divine. Boundaries are a way to keep you safe. Trust your intuition, breathe, and say what you gotta say. Boundaries, breathe out. Tuck your heart away from harm, and you will find just a little peace of mind. You are divine. You are divine.
Pierce Freelon from his brand new release, DAD. Bubble is the name of that tune. And coming up, some books that will help young children adapt to the new rules around COVID.
You're listening to the Children's Hour, Kids Public Radio. We'll be right back.
The Children's Hour is supported in part by an award from New Mexico Arts, a division of the Department of Cultural Affairs, and by the National Endowment for the Arts. Children's Hour listeners, getting control of the COVID virus is within reach if we just wash our hands with great frequency, continue social distancing, and wear a mask every time you're out in public. We can do this. We can get rid of COVID, but we have to do it together.
Wash your hands after you go to the bathroom. Wash your hands before you eat. Wash your hands whenever they are dirty. Wash your hands before you go to sleep. With good old soap and water, soap and water. Those squirmy, wormy germies, they won't be sticking around. With good old soap and water, soap and water. Those squirmy, wormy germies will be nowhere to be found. Oh, those germs are hanging onto your fingers. Oh, those germs are hanging onto your skin. They want to be part of your family. They want to be one of your kin. But with good old soap and water, soap and water, those squirmy, wormy germies, they won't be sticking around. With good old soap and water, soap and water, those squirmy, wormy germies will be nowhere to be found. Oh, those germs can make you have a fever. Oh, those germs can make you have a cold. So wash your hands when they are dirty. So wash your hands like you've been told. With good old soap and water, soap and water, those squirmy, wormy germies, they won't be sticking around. With good old soap and water, soap and water, those squirmy, wormy germies will be nowhere to be found. With good old soap and water, soap and water, those squirmy, wormy germies, they won't be sticking around. with good old soap and water. Soap and water. Those squirmy, wormy germies will be nowhere to be found.
Wash Your Hands is Mike Soloway from a CD called Hungry for Manners, Songs of Kindness, Politeness, and Love. Isaac from our crew reviewed 3 of the books in a brand new series called Face Mask Fun with Hamilton. The books were written by Renuka Christoph and published by her as well.
Hello, my name is Isaac, and today I'm going to tell you about a book called Hamilton at the Zoo. I learned a lot from this book about animals and how to stay safe in public places. Hamilton loves animals, so he decides to take a visit to the zoo. He'll tell you about each and every animal and also tell you some important facts about COVID-19. Here is an example of some things that you'll find in this book. Watching a dolphin made me want to swim in a pool. He looked like he was smiling in the water, and it was pretty cool. Dolphins can dive 1,000 feet. Now that's pretty neat. There is another fun book about Hamilton called Birthday Time. In this book, Hamilton went to a socially distanced birthday party at his friend Isaac's house. The theme of Isaac's birthday party was animals. They played lots of fun games like bingo and trivia. Then they each got to pick a prize. Hamilton chose a gecko. And they had all that fun while staying safe by wearing masks and staying 6 feet apart. Now I'm going to review one last book about Hamilton. In this book, Hamilton interviews his favorite animals. This book is called Questions for Favorite Animals. He asks fun questions like, Domingo the Flamingo, why do you stand on one leg? Is it for ballet or just something different today? And the animals answer, Very good questions you ask, Hamilton. I don't stand on one leg just for fun. I shall answer your question for which you are hired. I stand on this leg because my other leg got tired. I think that it was very cool that in this book, Hamilton's face mask represented every animal he visited safely. This is Isaac Lacerda with a review of some books by Renuka Christoph.
You can learn more about the Face Mask Fun with Hamilton book series at facemaskfunwithhamilton.com.
ABC, 1, 2, 3. Everyone's got a mask around me. Everyone's got a mask around me. Mama's got a mask. What's that for? She puts it on her face when she walks out the door. Daddy's got a mask, looking really silly. He wears it for protection. I'm like, oh really? It's okay, don't be afraid. Mom and Dad are behind the masquerade. It's still just Mom and Dad. ABC, 1, 2, 3. Everyone's got a mask around me. Everyone's got a mask around me. ABC, 1, 2, 3. Everyone's got a mask around me. Everyone's got a mask around me. I don't know why I can't hug my grandpa when I come and say hi.
I love you, Grandpa.
I don't know why I can't kiss my grandma when I go and say goodbye.
I love my grandma.
ABC, 1, 2, 3. Everyone's got a mask around me. Everyone's got a mask around me. ABC, 1, 2, 3. Everyone's got a mask around me. Everyone's got a mask around me. I don't know why I can't give my best friend a high five.
High five.
Sorry, little Bob. For now, we just wave. Coronavirus is really changing our lives. Hang in there, guys. This is only temporary. ABC, 1, 2, 3. Everyone's got a mask around me. Everyone's got a mask around me. ABC, 1, 2, 3. Everyone's got a mask around me. Everyone's got a mask around me. Now a mask goes over mouth and nose. Make sure it's secure so a virus doesn't go inside.
Make sure it's tight.
Make sure it's tight. Now a mask goes over mouth and nose. Make sure it's secure so a virus doesn't go inside.
So let it in.
Make sure it's tight. ABC, 1, 2, 3. Everyone's got a mask around me. Mama, 2, 3. Everyone's got a mask around. It's beginning to feel like Halloween. ABC, 1, 2, 3. Coronavirus is why we're in quarantine. I'll play quarantine.
Hey guys, it's Doctors Bop and Pop, and we're wishing everyone good health. So remember, stay safe.
Extinction Diaries. A 2019 study shocked the world with the data that the world's plants are going extinct about 300 to 500 times faster than expected. In Hawaii alone, 79 plant species have gone extinct in the last 120 years. There are more than 300,000 known species of plants, and of those, only around 13,000 have been evaluated. Of those 13,000, 68% are threatened with extinction. While this data is startling, the rate of plant extinctions is actually less than that of animals, which are disappearing 1,000 times or more faster than before humans began destroying and degrading the planet's resources. However, biologists are warning that many plant species are going extinct before they are even discovered. All in all, the planet's plant extinction rate remains a significant and dire warning to humanity. Species of trees that are far more resilient than man are disappearing forever. My name is Arnold Oliveira, and this is a Small World Radio production.
If I could tell the world just one thing, it would be, oh, okay. Not to our weeks were tasteful and useless in times like these. Won't be made useless. Won't stand there like I don't care. I'll gather myself around my feet to light the darkness out there. My hand is small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. And they're not yours, they are my own. And I'm never broken. Harmony, like the golden rule. Happiness and laughter helps us create a peaceful world. Today, never after. No more fights, let's all unite. For someone stand up for what's right. 'Cause where there's a child who has no voice, their eyes shall go singing. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. They're not yours, they are my own, and I'm never broken. In the end, only kindness matters. In the end, only kindness matters. Only kindness matters. Only kindness matters.
has a solution, often more than one. More than one. Nothing is unsolvable. Finding new solutions can be fun. It can be fun. We can train our brains, train our eyes to see a new solution. We're brave enough to try. To try. We're brave enough to try. We can try a different way. Starting over is okay. It's okay. We get better every day. We can brainstorm many different ways to solve a problem. Start with what we can do. Take little steps, try something new. Do it together, helping one another. We are problem solvers. We're brave enough to try. To try. We're brave enough to try.
Problem Solvers is Lindsay Munroe from her latest release, I Am Kind. Aaron Nigel Smith from his CD Welcome to the Village brought us Hands, and the Extinction Diaries came before that, and then Doctors Bop and Pop brought us the Wear a Mask song. That's Rashad Ahmed and Yusuf Chowdhury. You're listening to the Children's Hour.
The Children's Hour is written and produced by Katie Stone at the Sunspot Solar Studio in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with help from all of us kids on the Kids crew.
Many thanks to New Mexico Department of Health Secretary Kathyleen Kunkel for being on the show with us today.
Also, thank you to the kids from the Extinction Diaries.
You can find our playlist, photos, and podcasts at childrenshour.org. And you can get our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, like Apple, Stitcher, and at patreon.com/thechildrenshour.
We post photos and more on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Find us at TCH Radio.
The Children's Hour can be heard on more than 60 stations in the United States and Canada.
Hello to our listeners tuned in on New GE Radio, KKWE in Callaway, Minnesota.
The Children's Hour is distributed by the Children's Hour Incorporated and by PRX, the Public Radio Exchange, as well as by the Pacifica Radio Network.
We're going to go out with some Justin Roberts from a CD called Wildlife. Thanks for listening to the Children's Hour.
Hey, I'm calling from miles away, hoping that you're okay. I know the kinds of things we fall into, and oh, my little avocado, you take the time to grow. You never have to carry it alone, 'cause I just wanna say I've got the world for you. When you don't know what to do, I'll take the gray skies, make them blue, 'cause I've got the world for you. And hey, I'm sure you might like to stay, but it's gonna be okay. There's no need to rush into this race. And oh, I just wanna see you so I can just let you know. But when you finally fall into this place, well, I'm just gonna say I've got the world for you. When you don't know what to do, I'll take the gray skies, make them blue, 'cause I've got the world for you.
You've been listening to the Children's Hour. We're produced by the Children's Hour Incorporated. a tax-exempt nonprofit based in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we're dedicated to producing high-quality kids public radio. Find out more about us at childrenshour.org. Support provided by our sustaining listeners. And from the city of Albuquerque, we are One Albuquerque, cabq.gov. We also had support from the Laughing Buddha Fund and the Limestone Foundation. Support was also provided by the Infinite Gesture Fund at the Albuquerque Community Foundation. Our theme music was written by C.K. Barlow.
We'll be back next time for another edition of
The Children's Hour, Kids Public Radio.
I love the Children's Hour.